You're probably wondering what's going on with my mug, huh? Um, I run a very hot mirror. Okay, so you got to be careful with fire, right? And I experience the eternal spirit of fire. That's how I lit myself on fire. So this is moisturizer, natural ingredients, because I woke up this morning and my face is hot, right? And so anyway, to change the subject on that, and that's why I was reminiscing when I've covered the Borgia matrix quarantine and how insidious it is because the nature of what it does. It will look for any access point to write itself into DNA. Okay, and once it's in, it accelerates at a very high rate of speed. Okay, and you saw that in the Matrix when the hand with the goo went into Neo, right? Right, and that's an infection. That's a parasitic infection. Okay, and so now we're into spiritual immunity and spiritual purity and a shield, right? On the speed, it is a speed function. A math function is a speed function, right? To remember who we are, right? Which one are you? So when I thought about which one are you, which is which mirror are you, right? The mirror that we are, the mirror that we know is knowing the one. The first mirror, the first magnet, the first electrified sound, the eternal sound and light field, the first eternal morphogenic field structure of consciousness, which is pure, which is zero mass, because it's so light, because it's so pure. The pure manifestation energy of pure consciousness, which is creation energy. That's a creative state of mind, because that state of mind is pure, which is pure, internal, eternal, absolute love for all life forms. So that's a natural crystal rose spiral. That's Rosetta. That's what I am. That's what I run. Okay, and so I thought about if you wanted a snapshot or an illustration of the Borgia matrix quarantine and how the mirrors operate between Neo and AI Mr. Smith, or QI, right? The inorganic, how they how the reversals of letters and tones operate with that language, the language of Babel. Okay, is San Francisco. I was in San Francisco on a couple of occasions during the jab campaign, the Second Crusade, right? And that is a good example because I walked down streets and saw feces everywhere, right? People that were dying every day, shooting up drugs, right? Tents everywhere, right? And that is an extension, because what happens is that's Mr. AI, Mr. Smith is now looking, okay, at its own mirror of what it became by virtue of what it becomes aware of through that mirror. Because San Francisco directly connected to Marin County. And if you look at the per capita income of Marin County tied directly to San Francisco and Silicon Valley, all you got to do is put it all together. So what happened is that why did San Francisco thus become a garbage dump, as they say, with feces and urine and graffiti and basic. Well, what did they do to San Francisco? It was a beautiful cosmopolitan city. And then you see the mirror of what San Francisco became by virtue of who developed it. The mirror. The black mirror. So the black mirror is seeing itself, what it became as a result of what it became. So San Francisco is a good illustration of what happened when you think of 1492 or the Columbus Exchange. The speed at which an insane asylum because that's what it turned into. See, they couldn't fill up psychiatric hospitals fast enough because as a result of the what? Nerve damage. Right? All the data is there. Roughly 50% of children and adolescents in America are under treatment as a result of what? A mental field disorder. So instead of all these beings that are sick, okay, running a self-suicide program, putting them in hospitals as treatment centers, they're all out on the street. That's your hospital. San Francisco is a street asylum. That's the mental hospital, is out on those streets. All the patients that are not in hospitals are living in tents. As they say, the patients, the rooms, instead of spending $30,000 a month to go into some high-end psychiatric facility where they give you a room and a bed and psychiatric nurses, okay, instead they're on the street. So the streets become the psychiatric hospital of where they all end up, because where are they going to put them? As a result of all the nerve damage. Well, who's doing all the nerve damage? The twos. 222. Twos and not threes. Right? The 10 and the 6. That's right. Their B system. That's right. Dead light, a dead light magnet, a dead battery. That's a dead mental field. That's dead light, which is artificial light. Because it needs a primal source, sound, and light field to run its machinery, which is to run its system, which is mathematical, which is to bend light into a black hole. That's a black mirror. So we jumped into a black mirror. Which one are you? Right? So this was a big job. This was a big job. As a matter of fact, as I mentioned before, that the security on this was the tightest security that has ever existed in the entire history of all creation. Some of you may not be aware of that, but I'm aware of that because I am thoroughly familiar with how fast it can spread from one matrix to another matrix to another one. And another one, and another one, and another one. Through access points. All it needs is an access point, and it's in. And then it will write itself, and then it will begin to self-replicate. And once it begins to self-replicate, it's going to self-replicate at a very high rate of speed. And we saw that all across America. And that's why San Francisco looks the way that it does today. That's why Los Angeles looks the way that it does today. That's why New York is looking the way that it does today. That's what it looks like. That's the mirror. That's the echo map of a false light echo map. It's a false light vacuum. It's a false light matrix. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist because without us, without souls, it doesn't exist. That's why we're all here. Have a beautiful day. We love you all. Securing the inner doors. Tej into Doe. Tej into Doe. Tej into Doe.